Ayo, freedom calling, pick it up. Why you stalling? Pick it up. Is that your purpose? Pick it up. Hurry up, it's urgent. Pick it up.
Welcome to the Time is Ripe podcast. Time is Ripe is a digital journal podcast of Ripe Creatives. Ripe Creatives is a ministry that leverages the arts for the purpose of missions in Philadelphia and the surrounding region. Time is Ripe is hosted by Ripe Creatives founder, Scott Smith. The podcast features various guests from within the Ripe community or our extended family. Each episode focuses on a specific experience that our team hosted here in the city or an outside event where someone from our team was booked to perform. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
Sleeping, you probably in a coma. Try to make a hit, I made a homer. Christ gave blood, he a donor. Remove the weight from the shoulders. Hold up. Ayo,
What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Time is Ripe podcast. My name is Scott Smith, and I am here on the Time is Ripe as your host with my co-host only. It's feeling like a setting the stage.
I was just about to say that.
But it's not a setting the stage. It's just me and Jarrett Moses. How you doing, Jarrett?
I'm good. It's funny doing like a middle of the season setting the stage, basically.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's a completely different vibe. But I mean, with how much I talk about creatives, it's going to feel like a setting the stage.
It's going to feel like a setting the stage. Yes, for sure. Today, I say this, I've been saying this recently because we keep doing things that aren't normal for the podcast.
Yeah.
This one is really out of the box. Technically on the the timeline, we're talking about April of 2026.
Yeah.
April 7th to be exact. We had a Creatives Philly event. It was a Tuesday night at Venice Island. April 7th happens to be my birthday, so it's a little special for that reason. But it also was our 8-year anniversary as a platform of Creatives Philly.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because we started in 2018. 8 years later, that's 2026. That's a long time to be doing something.
The stars aligned for the show.
Yeah, it did, because that's whenever Venice could do. So yeah. I was like, okay, this is kind of a special show. It was like our anniversary show. It was my birthday. Let's do an episode about it, right, Jarrett? And everybody's like, yeah, let's do an episode about it. And then we reached out to all the people to do an episode about it. And everybody was like, I can't do that.
No.
I was like, sick. So I guess we're not going to do an episode about it. And then you and I started talking about an idea to what if we don't just go back in time to April, that date? What if we go back in time to the Creatives Philly platform as a whole? Because this podcast started, I think, in 2022. Was season 1, 2021, something like that. I think it was 2022. Because Good Soil was our first episode.
Yes.
And that was in 2022. So everything that predates that around creatives is not on this podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of creatives that happened before that.
Right.
Because we were, this is jumping ahead, but like we were every month back then.
Right. Yes. We were multiple times a month, some months, which we'll get into. So we were like, let's do the big picture thing. Yeah. Now, I will just say April 7th, 2026, if you're like, what happened that day? It was great. Leah Wren was the feature. Yeah. She's amazing. The live band did great.
Leah was like the perfect choice for that too, because she's just been ride or die with creatives for so long. Like I remember my first creative showing up and I'm pretty sure I saw her there. I didn't know who she was, but I remember seeing her.
Yes. Leah's been a part of this thing forever. And it was my birthday, so I got to pick the feature. So I was like, who do I want? I want Leah. And that was kind of my way of making sure she would say yes, was leveraging my birthday, because I think she would have said no otherwise.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's my birthday. Do you not love me? And then she was like, I'll do it. So
I think that's verbatim what you said to her.
I did it in front of a group of people as well.
Peer pressure. Worked great.
So she had to answer in front of 40 people, which also helped our cause. So she did amazing. She always does amazing. Live band was great. I think all the artists that came through did a great job. It was a blast. We did like a rock, paper, scissors in the middle of the event to find our last open micer.
That was fun.
That was fun. John Bolds won.
Yeah, John won.
Yeah, and he did great. So it was a great time. If you're looking for pictures, you can find them on our IG. You're looking for videos, that might be a while.
One day.
But they'll come out eventually. But yeah, as I said, we're not going to focus on that particular day. We're going to talk big picture. Creatives Philly, Tuesday night platform, started in 2018.
Yep.
I think it was May of 2018, technically. Was our first show, but we started promoting it in April of 2018. So Here is the statistics, okay, Jared? So this will just frame our time a little bit. We have done over 60 in-person Tuesday night experiences, right? Which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
We have had 7 or 8 distinct locations. So I say or 8 because if you want to consider Venice inside and outside as 2 different things, then we've had 8. Because they are very different shows. The inside the theater show versus the outside show are very different.
They are.
But at minimum, 7 different locations. Okay, here are the 7. High Point, where this whole thing started. Gathering Place, Peace Hikes spot.
I didn't know you did a creatives event.
We
there.
did. The Homestead in Glenside. Shout out to Caitlin Deviney. Venice Island outside. The Story Factory. Bedrock. We did one show at Top Mop Savage Studios.
We did. I forgot about that until I saw the list.
And then Venice inside. So, like I said, 7 addresses.
8-ish
kind of spots. Total attendees, somewhere around 6,000 total attendees in terms of like registered between the Eventbrite on our website or like, and some of those were free attendees, right? Because we did a handful of free events. 3,000 of those 6,000 have been unique human beings, which I think is kind of cool. So we've had 3,000 different people at Creatives.
Yeah.
And we've platformed somewhere around 500 artists in total.
Yeah.
It's between concerts, galleries, and the open mics.
Is that number actually counting with the number of events? Are you counting like the live streamed events we did?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was going to say that because if you count that, you've got like another 6 quote unquote event live streams that we put on with an artist coming out.
Yeah.
Or artists, because we did an open mic one.
We did 2 of those.
Open
actually.
mic showcase, quote unquote.
Yeah, the peaks. We did 2 peaks actually.
Yes. And we also did a rehearsal peak. We had everyone come out, practice it to test everything.
To test
and
the
then
live
have them
stream.
come back like a couple weeks later and do it again.
This is all part of the story. We also did Instagram live ones too.
You did Instagram Live more than once.
Yeah,
I remember
did
seeing
like
that
10,
all of 2020.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. But so yeah, nothing virtual, all in person, these stats. Now here's where things get kind of fun. 50 of the events were ticketed events as open mics, concerts, or this newest iteration of the Creatives combo, where it's like an open mic and a closing feature.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like their concert at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. It feels like this feature is not just like a feature, like it's almost their show. And it's like a both and. We love
Pitch it to the artist where you're like, you got like 10 opening acts, bro. You're huge. You're amazing.
It's your festival. You're just the headliner. But 10 of the events, so 50 plus were ticketed. 10 of the events were just outright free. So all of the galleries were outright free. And then we ended up trying like a bunch of different open mics as free or pay what you want, which in Philadelphia means it's free because people just pay nothing. It's like, hey, pay what you want. Like, it's
So nothing?
funny. So nothing. It's very, very funny. Here's the math on it. We've invested like well over $50,000 into the events, which probably sounds like a lot, but over the course of 8 years, I actually think it's extremely low cost considering what we do.
I mean, the fact that these are like not necessarily like a large scale events, but like events like this normally cost like a couple grand. The fact that we're pulling these off for less than $1,500 is crazy.
Yeah, I think most open mics are probably $500 to $1,000. Anybody trying to do what we're doing would spend significantly more than what we're spending to do this, though. I agree with that because we do have you as a live production agent. We have professional video, professional photo, a live band, a DJ, really good venues. You know what I mean? So I think, if somebody else was trying to replicate what we do, which we've had people try.
Yeah.
And they, came and they're like, hey, I want this person, this person, this person, this person. Well, when you go talk to them a la carte, which they did, they found out it was like $7,000.
Yeah.
right? And it was like, I can't do that. And I was like,
and that's before you even find a venue, because a lot of open mics in Philly, they're just in a bar.
right.
The bar's like, I'll make some money off drinks. Sure, why not use it? Once you go to an actual venue that has an actual system or a decent system, that's where it comes in.
Yep. Yeah. So it's just like, it is what it is. But we've spent about $50,000. Now here's where things kind of get funny. We have recouped a little less than $20,000 from that investment, from actual ticket sales. And part of that is because of the 10 free events, but also just our ticket sales are always pretty low, even if we end up having a decent amount of people at the shows. So we're about $30,000 in the hole over 8 years that we produced events, and yet we're still doing them. Jarrett, what are your thoughts about that?
Remember, you're saying in ticket sales. This isn't counting the countless times that people have just seen the mission of Creatives, seen what Creatives is doing, or been touched in some way for the artists, for the painters, for the photographers, for the rappers, the spoken word artists, the singer-songwriters. You have someone who is touched by one of those or what we do for these artists, and they become a partner for Ripe, whether one time or monthly. So it's not unfair, but just keep in mind that it's like, that's the ticket sale number. That's not the actual return that Ripe has seen from blessings from people 100%. Beyond the events. Because I think at least every 2 or 3 events, you hear about a story, or you tell everyone else a story about your interaction with someone who came in, loved what we were doing, doesn't even live in Philadelphia, and became a monthly partner.
I don't know if it's that often, but
it feels like you hear those stories, because like it's just it comes up. It comes up a lot.
It definitely has happened. I mean, there's a ton of fruit from Creatives way beyond the financial loss.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that without a shadow of a doubt.
I go back to it constantly. The fact that Leah was the feature for the anniversary show. Leah's only around because Creatives. She's only a part of Ripe Creatives, beyond Creatives, because of Creatives.
Yep.
We only have Craig Watson because of Creatives. We only have a lot of these artists because of Creatives.
Tajir.
A lot of painters, Tajir. Dise. Yeah.
Yep. Rashid himself, because that was during the pandemic. So
facts.
Yeah, it's been a lot of like fruit from it. It's not a bad investment for sure.
No.
We would love for it to not necessarily make back what we've lost, but just start to break even.
Yeah, it could be self-sufficient.
Yeah, it'd be great. Silo it off. The resources from tickets cover the expenses of the show. That would be amazing. But even if that started to happen, I'd probably just end up paying you guys a little bit better, and then I'd still lose money. So
it would still be a loss somehow.
It'd still be a loss somehow. You know, that's what happens when you try to do things with integrity. Anyway, here's my proposal for this episode, Jarrett. I know we're like probably 10, 15 minutes in already, but like breaking down kind of how to think about this. 2018, we start this thing. So I'm considering that era the beginning chapter, which is kind of like why me and Darlene launched it. This was before you. Chapter 2 is like the pandemic into High Point era. 3, it's kind of like the Port Richmond Fishtown, right? It's the Story Factory Bedrock time. So like 2022 to 2025.
Yeah.
And then I would say this current chapter, we're only 6 months into this, but the current Venice Island chapter, right? So that's how I would like do it in those 4 sections. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I like how you're splitting that up. Makes sense to me.
All right, so I'll do the first part because you weren't even around.
I love this story. This is a crazy story.
Yeah, so I don't think we've ever told this story here on the podcast. But it was 2017, 2018. My wife, who has a wonderful thing called celiac disease, and she's like actually deathly allergic to gluten. But she had a lot of challenges with her health for a while. And at one point, she actually had like a lump on her neck that doctors were kind of like, oh, we need to do a biopsy. Like this is a tumor of some sort. and we need to get rid of it, but we also need to find out what's going on and see if we need to get you involved with treatment and all this kind of stuff. Like very terrifying news in your 20s, you know, like very, very terrifying news, trying to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to manage this. And at the time we were working in a nonprofit. I mean, now I do too, but we had really bad insurance, like super, super bad insurance. So we get information from the doctors that like, hey, all this stuff that they're going to have to do is going to be somewhere around like $3,000 out of pocket. And I was like, well, how are we going to get $3,000? Because we don't have that kind of money. We're working in a nonprofit. We're living in somebody's basement. Like, you know what I mean? We're not really doing super well, but we're going to have to pay this bill. And I kind of was like, okay, I could do one of three things. I could like call people and try to get this resource through like a GoFundMe type thing, capital campaign. Hey, I need help. 2, I can go do Uber or Lyft, just drive around and take people, like just grind it out. 3, I could go speak at a couple youth retreats because I can do that over the course of a weekend, generate some capital that way, do a couple of those. That'll probably make up the difference. And then number 4 was like, or we could throw an event, because me and Darlene both had like event background stuff. We had one of the first things we did when we were dating was throw an event together. We actually threw a festival at my parents' house in the backyard with like hundreds of people that came out.
That's crazy.
And that was like one of the first things we did when we got back together, like all the way in 2011, I think. So we were like, okay, let's throw an event. So we kind of dreamed up this idea, called Angie, DJ Angie, Anthony Gordon. I was like, hey, I'm only doing this if you want to be a part of it. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And it was kind of like a post-cursor from this thing called The Underground that was running. There was like a third space trying to reach people. The Radiant Shade up in New York City, the Architect, runs. So it's kind of like that model, but for Philly. And we were like, let's do Tuesday nights, because I could never do weekends because my job was all weekend. So we did Tuesday night. We found this cafe, Al de Salvatore, shout out to you, brought us in. That was the first show. Now, everybody volunteered at show 1. And so we sold somewhere around $500 worth of tickets. It was a fundraiser for us. We didn't really tell people like it was a fundraiser until the middle of the show. Like, this is why you're here. Thank you guys. Pray for us. That was in May of 2018. September of 2018, we go do the same thing at the Gathering Place. That was event 2 at P. Sykes' house, because we're still trying to make up this like $3,000. Dar goes in, gets the surgery stuff, everything. They take it out, find out it's benign. Praise God, right? So hallelujah, praise the Lord. Benign, they take it out. She's going to be okay. We basically make like another $500 on the second show. We're like, okay. Then we get a call from the insurance company. It's like, hey, blah, 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 because of this, and this, you only owe us $1,000 instead of like $3,000. And we had the money from the first 2 shows. And we're like, sick. So we pay that off. And then we're like, okay, we don't need to throw a show again. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of our thinking, was like, creatives, awesome.
You don't need to, but everyone needs you to.
Yeah, well, it was just like one of those things where it's like, okay, I guess we won't do that again. But then the success of it, people talking about them, like those first 2 shows went really well. I was kind of done with creatives, but I was launching Ripe Creatives. And then August of 2019, right, I quit my job from that nonprofit. So does Darlene. We step on faith to launch Ripe Creatives, right? And at the same time, Ripe, the community, is going through like craziness, right? If you go back and listen to the Coming and Ripe story, like that whole podcast from way back then, like there's a lot going on that went into a lot of depth on that podcast, but there's just a lot happening. Like multiple artists are either leaving the collective or just like broken up about those departures and not sure what they're going to do. And I'm like, guys, I just quit my job to be a part of this. Like, what are you doing? Right? Like, I literally just quit my job. So I have to do this even if they don't.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what they're doing, I still have to do my part. And I was like, well, I can always bring creatives back. So I line it up for December. That was the night that you and I met, December 2019.
I didn't realize how close I met you to like that monumental change. Like, I thought you had left your job like a year prior.
No, it was
I didn't realize
August
it was only
2019.
a couple months. That's crazy.
Yep. So yeah, and you only came into my life because the guy who was supposed to run sound,
Catchery.
Jeremy Catchery, shout out to you, didn't show up, and he called you.
He was there. He just didn't know how to do anything with that board.
Yeah.
He was like,
Fair.
Jarrett, please help me.
So you came and ran sound December of 2019, which we just talked about last season because we had John Bolds on.
Yeah.
And that was the night that you met John Bolds.
Yes. Bet, quote unquote. Yeah.
Say so.
I don't remember meeting him.
Right. But you guys have been working together ever since, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like small world stuff. But that 2019 one, I'm like, okay, if Ripe is like on pause because this community doesn't know what it's doing, we can still run creatives.
Yeah.
Immediately after that show, I'm like, let's do another one. My friend Caitlin Deviney, shout out to Caitlin, was opening her venue called the Homestead in Glenside. And we decided to be her first major event. Like, she was going to do a soft launch kind of grand opening event, but then we were going to be the first like event that's renting her space to be in there. And we did creatives at Homestead in February of 2020. So 2 months later. Now, what was amazing was from December, because of the success of December, Ripe galvanized. And by February of 2020, creatives became a Ripe event. And what I mean by that is like Dan Jaffe and Matt Conlon both shot video. Josh Schaefer put the band together for the first time. That was our first ever house band because he wanted to be a part of it in that way. Abel was one of the performers on it. Rick was like hospitality, bringing people in. And it was like our entire team worked together to make creatives happen. And it was like, oh, we're back. And it was very much like this monumental night. You know, it was like February 4th, 2020. It was like breath of fresh air. We're excited. Ripe is back. Creatives is going to be a part of this. We have a vision for moving forward. We're going to start doing these more consistently. And we're going to start serving artists through these open mic nights. Immediately, the pandemic happens.
It was really funny how fast it was. Because the night of that, you kept coming up to me after the event. Like, I'm just waiting for Jeremy to give me the nod that, like, I'm good to dip. And you come up and we're chatting and you're talking about events for the next year. And I think you gave me 2 tentative dates, like, that night for 2020.
Yeah, one of them was Oracles, actually.
Precursor to Oracles,
Yeah.
like what Oracles almost was. And the other one was just the next creative. So you were like, yeah, we're not going to be here in January, but February or what was it? What was the next one?
So it was February. We were going to Homestead. We were going to be at High Point again in April.
April, that's what it was. You were saying that you were going to hit me up about an April date.
Yes.
Because you were doing February somewhere else.
Do you want to know what's crazy? That April date was going to be Leah Wren. April 2020, because it was a Creatives Connect networking mixer.
That's right. Yeah.
With a spotlight. Anyway, so yeah, the Homestead one, we didn't need you because Ben Morris was there.
Right. That's his name, Ben Morris. I was going to say Caitlin was doing the venue with Ben, and I couldn't remember his last name, but Ben Morris, because they also they were also a duo band
as
at that
Homestead
point.
Collective.
Yep.
Yes. So Ben was going to run sound in his own space, so I didn't need you that night.
Right.
But that night, like all the rest of the pieces of Ripe at the time, really buy in. We feel like we have something great. This is going to be dope. Maybe we're going to bounce around different venues. Maybe we're going to do these every other month. Maybe we're going to do them every month. I don't know. but we have something really, really special.
If you want to go check out that night, I believe there are videos of it that Dan shot way back when it happened that ended up on the YouTube channel. Like,
yeah,
if
the
you
audio
go,
is just from the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it just shows the growth that we've hit. Like, if you go to the Ripe channel, if you go into the videos and switch it from latest to oldest to newest or earliest or whatever, you should see them like almost immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got like the wood background, wood panel wall.
I think they say Homestead on them.
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah, I mean, Abel was on that show.
Peter Collins was on it.
Duzzy came. Shalom came. There's a lot of great artists on that night. But yeah, so that night was really iconic. We think we're heading into something. Pandemic happens. For Creatives Philly, the pandemic was actually pretty valuable. Obviously, it was horrific from a life experience wise, and people losing their lives. I mean, that was terrible. But I think for Creatives Philly, it gave us an opportunity to stand out because we started doing the live streams. We were super early adapters to what if we take these events and we put them on virtual Instagram, right? And I'm not saying we like came up with some grand thing, but we were very early, like within days of the pandemic starting, we were online every week doing live streams. And the big thing that set ours apart was that we gave money away.
That's right.
So, because my big thinking is always like, how do we help artists big picture? How do we help them find housing? How do we help them with equity? How do they make money? How do they pay their bills, right? So I'm always thinking in terms of that. And whenever the pandemic started, we didn't know if it was going to be a few weeks, a few months. We really didn't know, if you remember. Nobody assumed it was going to be as long as it was early. And I was just like, okay, well, artists can't gig. What if we can do something to help them? And so we just said like, hey, here's my Cash App. Send me money. Whatever comes in, I'm going to screenshot it and I'm going to send it out to whoever the winners are of the live stream, quote unquote, right? Whoever got the most votes, whoever people wanted, whoever we felt like did the best, like just kind of create some way of mechanism of choosing people to make money. Now, the really cool thing was a lot of artists that won said, hey, don't send it. Send it back to put in for the next week. And so over the course of a year, we gave away like $7,000 to artists. Like, but it wasn't money that we came up with. It was resources that were given to us. We were just like a funnel. Yeah. Now, you know, the IRS wasn't super happy about that. So like we ended up having to try to, you know what I mean? Because you have all this money coming through Cash App and Venmo. It looks a little shady.
A little bit, yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, you can see that it's going back out immediately. So we ended up trying to like switch it into give to Ripe Creatives, and then Ripe Creatives would send it out, but that didn't work. It didn't pan out. Like people didn't want to go on the website and do that because it wasn't a Cash App.
It was harder.
So, and by that point, the pandemic was over anyway. We actually packaged together $1,500 and we did a grant, and we gave away a grant to artists who performed on those Creatives live streams as well. It's like people applied for it and went through an application process and all that kind of stuff. So you and I talk middle of the pandemic. We're doing Instagram and Zoom. It stinks. I want to do YouTube to try to like, is there a way to do live streaming on YouTube so the audio quality is better? Because we got people trying to rap on Instagram, you know?
Yeah. Trying to rap and play their beat through their phone's mic.
Yeah, or like one of those iRig things. Remember everybody was getting those stupid adapters and all that kind of stuff.
I got one of those when I was in high school. It was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the pandemic, everybody was buying those things to try to be relevant online.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, man, this stinks. This just doesn't feel like the sauce. How do we do YouTube? And Dan and Matt were thinking for their business at the time, which was a video production company. How do they get into live streaming? They felt like that could be a move. So they were trying to get into it. We ended up doing them on YouTube. We did a bunch of them there that you already named, the Creatives Peak and the concerts. Leah was on one of those as well. Shout out to Leah being named on this episode 78 times already. And then coming out of the pandemic, it was like, all right, it's time to like be human again. We want to do shows. And there was particular people in Ripe, in our community, on the creatives team, that did not want to do shows that would be risky for COVID, right? There was just a very wide spectrum of opinion.
Yes.
Right. And I had my own opinion, but as a leader, that you can't, your opinion really doesn't matter. As a leader, you have to take into account everybody's opinion and what is the most honoring thing to do. So we had people that were like gung ho, throw the mask away. These people were fools. And then we had other people that were like, I'm masked up 6 feet no matter what. I don't want to be inside of a room with other people right now. And we're like, okay, that's like a very wide spectrum of thought. What can we do? And I think it was you or whatever. You came up, you threw out the idea, or Doc threw out the idea of like, what if we just do it outside? I think it was you that brought up the outside thing.
I think I said outside, and then Doc came up with the location.
With the location, right? And so that's what we did. We did Creatives Piers in 2021 outside at Venice Island Performing Arts Center, which we've told that story before, kind of the start of that. Mind you, a couple of those first ones actually got rained out and we had to move back to High Point anyway, which is ironic.
I only remember 2 in the entire time we did it.
June and August.
I don't think they were in the same year, were they?
Oh, yeah.
I thought
we were only
June or
outside
August.
in July.
I thought June or August was supposed to be inside anyway. I think that's where I was confused.
No. There was 3 that we had scheduled. And the first one and the third one both got rained out.
Yeah.
We moved to High Point for 2 of them, which ended up working out and everybody was fine with it. And
It did.
it was all good. But that's how we got going. Now, when we came back off of 2021, that's when we made some mistakes. Mistakes were made because we had been inside. We hadn't thrown an event in a while. And our budget looked really healthy because we hadn't spent any money. So we were like, man, we're rolling in it. So we just started throwing events constantly.
Yeah.
I signed a contract with High Point for every week.
Not that we were pulling off an event every week, that we had the space every week. Yeah, we had the
space every week. We started doing some meetings there. We started doing some shoots there. Started doing events there at least once a month. Some months we would do a concert and an open mic. And I would say like we had really good success that summer of 2021 with open mics. And then immediately when we went into like concert season, remember, we went right to Schuler, right to Namara, right to Say So, right to Joy Ike.
That's right, because the
4 out of the next 5 events were concerts.
Only
one was
the one we did outside was when you started talking with Matt Schuler about doing the show.
Yep.
That's when I met him.
Yeah, he was an incognito feature on the pier.
That pier was special.
It was.
In a bunch of different ways, because like, I don't know, just the life of Ripe. And even, I always think about this, the one poet that was like his last performance before he passed away. It was crazy.
Yeah, Professor Biz from Florida.
I think that was the best video we never posted. But I made sure we got it together and you were able to send it to his family.
Yep. Yeah, it's like a commemorative thing because it was actually one of his last performances before he passed away. Yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful summer. And yeah, we immediately went into like this concert mode thing, started hosting all these concerts, and then started doing open mics. We had High Point weekly, so we were throwing concerts at High Point, as well as the open
letting
mics at High
Point. Letting other people use it for concerts.
Yeah, letting other people use it. Shout out to Kozer and some others as well. And then we go into summer 2022, and we're like, hey, let's go back outside to Venice because that was so great last year. I was like, we don't need to do that. And you're like, no, I love it. Let's do it.
It's been like a staple at this point.
Yeah, well, at this point, but I'm saying summer 2022, that was our second one.
Yeah.
And that could have been the end of it. And you were like, no, let's do it. And Venice wanted to have us back. And so we go back there. And then around that time, it was like at the end of that summer is when we started hearing something might be happening with High Point.
Yeah.
We took everybody there for a show. I think that's September. And we prayed in that room as a community for a while, one night. Just like, God, whatever you want to have happen, like, we surrender that to you, but just pray that you'd protect Pastor Fola and this church from whatever's coming. And about a month later is whenever the like full on, the owner is kicking us out. Our lease is being terminated because they're selling the building to a developer, knocking it down.
Yeah.
Building new apartment complexes.
I think we all had bad feelings because if you watch some of the videos, some of the like towards the end of the High Point videos, you can see we moved those like foam panels around a lot and we put them up in weird ways. And it's because we're trying to hide a hole in the wall that the owners would not fix. There was a plumbing issue, like it would always smell really bad, and they were always like running out buying like 50 air fresheners, running them in the room, emptying a whole can of Febreze, lighting candles everywhere, and people were like, I love the vibes. And I'm like, yeah, that's why we did it. But you could see the owners caring a little bit less, and like they won't fix things all the way, and it's because in the back of their mind they're about to get rid of this place.
Yep. And yeah, it was not the goal for High Point to leave, but the owners made a decision and sold the building.
That building's not even there anymore.
Yeah, literally
most of
the
that
entire
block is
block.
Not there.
No, the whole block is pretty much down.
I still have High Point's key on my keychain.
Do you really?
Yep.
That's hysterical. We should find that door somewhere. But yeah, so that was like the end of an era. That chapter 2 is really ending in October of 2022 when we made that move. It was like a very crazy timing. I think we actually told this story. Ashley and Elijah reach out Sunday night. Hey, we love what you guys are doing. Doc is obviously part of our crew. We really feel like we want to be a home for Creatives Philly in our new building. Won't you come look at it and meet with us? I'm like, hey, that sounds awesome. Like, let's connect. That'd be great to have a conversation. On Tuesday, and we set up a meeting for Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Like, let's meet up on Wednesday. I'll come through. On Tuesday, we get the call from High Point that they're shutting down.
Yeah.
So it's like literally the provision meeting was set up for right after we'd need it.
Without us knowing.
Yeah, without us even knowing. So I came into that Story Factory meeting like, here's what just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
You guys are calling me 2 days before that. Like, do you think that this is the Lord? Like, I don't know what else this could be. And then we explained kind of our vision, our model, and how we do things and what we're after and what we're trying to build. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Like, we want to have you guys here. So we move into the Story Factory then from that point forward for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And we started doing the galleries there, the concerts there, and the open mics there. And the galleries were amazing in that space. They were amazing at High Point too, but I think especially at the Story Factory, they kind of like.
I think we just didn't have time to refine it at High Point.
Yeah.
Because we only pulled off one with Marguerite.
Yeah. The concerts at Story Factory, they weren't hip hop, right? They weren't full band with a whole bunch of like noise. I think went amazingly well. The singer-songwriter shows at the Story Factory were
Depends on
pristine.
the band, because Soraya's I still will hold as like one of the best shows we've done.
That's true. That's because the drummer stayed in the pocket. But it's a warehouse space, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like treated in that sense. They have amazing sound equipment, but the room's not necessarily treated for sound. I'm sure it's gotten better since we were there. But it was just a thing where with a live band, with a heavy-handed drummer, which is what our open mics typically are, like things are really loud.
Yeah.
And like outside of Venice Island in a little venue like High Point with a drum that's in a drum cage, like all that's totally cool. Mm-hmm. But at the Story Factory, after they had just moved in with a bunch of concrete and a bunch of metal, it wasn't ideal for the open mics. And then there was also some difference of kind of stylistic choices that we were making versus what they thought that we should do. And so we kind of came to this conclusion, hey, we need to move our open mics out of this space and just focus on concerts and galleries here and then find a new location for our open mics. I don't know if you remember this, but we looked at like 7 venues.
Yes.
During that time. Because the Story Factory, we didn't look anywhere else. They showed up the week that we found out we needed a place. So we moved in.
Yeah, that was
leaving
that
the
was
Story
Providence.
Factory for the open mics, though. We went and looked a lot of places.
Yeah, I think that's because we felt like there was a mission and a model that we needed to hold to with creatives, and just a random unfortunate connection that we have. We just know a lot of pastors and a lot of churches, and a lot of the spaces being churches didn't necessarily want us to reflect the way we supported the artists or supported musicians and poets and all of that, because we give them the freedom to just express themselves the way they're going to express themselves, and we're going to connect with them and try and help them work through those emotions afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pastors are like, hey, I disagree with the way you do creatives.
Yeah. And it's fair.
And I'm like, I understand why you think that that's the right answer. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what I have done is I've submitted this thing in terms of vision to my teammates, right? And to my board, and to my accountability. Like, we're not doing anything crazy.
Yeah. No, we're not doing anything crazy. And I think it's that doing this with a ministry in mind, we need people who support us with their own ministry mindset. But the issue is we can't do this necessarily in ministry spaces. We've also seen better success outside of doing this in a church, even with it not being named as a church.
Yep.
We've seen better success connecting with people that way. But then to get a venue that isn't a church costs a lot more because they're not ministry oriented with their mindset. So finding the common ground is a lot harder than when people just come out and are like, hey, we want to do this.
Yep.
So I think that's why the transition post Story Factory was harder.
Yes, it was harder until we found Drew.
Facts.
Right, at Bedrock, Pastor Drew.
And I think that was another like perfect timing, like God lining things up, because
Graham had just done the show there that summer.
Graham had just done a show there, but we weren't doing any more open mics at the Story Factory. All our open mics were set for the summer to be outside. So we were outside for the next 4 months, because we were doing every other month, I think, at that point. So the next 2 shows, which was across 4 months, we had set. Drew came out with Caleb, saw what Creatives was, checked it out, gave it their mark of approval, and we were able to continue in November, like right after coming out of the summer.
Yep. Yeah, we came out of the summer of 2024, which was kind of the end of that Story Factory run for us, was December of 2024. We did our last concert there. And yeah, November, right before that, was that show, first show with Bedrock.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew was kind of like, look, we don't know if this should happen in our space, but we're like willing to take the risk with you just to figure it out.
Yeah.
And like, if it doesn't work, like, we just won't do it. But if it does, like, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Because they were already passionate about, hey, we're in Fishtown, artist, creative kind of spaces and nights. Like, this is who we want to reach in general. This is a group of people that does that kind of stuff. Let's work together. And so, yeah, we took our open mic over to Bedrock in November. We hosted our last concert in December. And then we as a team in December of 2024 made a pretty radical decision, which was, we're done doing galleries and concerts. We're going to focus solely on open mics and close each of them with features. We're just
I didn't realize
combine.
we made the gallery decision. I thought it was like on the table, or we were just pushing it off for now. But I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, the gallery thing was kind of cooked after like Terry's. Then there wasn't any momentum to continue to pursue those, because we just didn't have the staff hours to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't like, hey, we're not doing that. It was just like, let's focus the Creatives brand on the open mic nights specifically. Let's do that. Let's go back to our roots, where things started in 2018 at High Point at the Gathering Place, 2019 back at High Point, 2020 at the Homestead, right? Those first 4 shows over 2 years. This is what we were trying to build was an open mic space that serves artists and reaches artists regardless of their background.
Yeah.
So let's do that again. And then we locked in the contract for 2025, which was the Bedrock kind of era where we did the Able show, the Wind and Sail show. Summer, we went and did Doc Hero and John Bolds. Fall, we went back to Bedrock and did Jana and Maya. And that was 2025 after the August show at Venice, John Bolds show at the end of that night.
Yeah.
Mind you, 2 months before that was the debacle of all debacles, where we could have been kicked out of Venice forever. 2 months later, we have this amazing August show outside there. And they're like, hey, we're ready to talk to you about what it could look like to be here year-round.
Yeah.
And we're like, what?
Year-round?
Are you serious?
Honestly, I was expecting it to be like a 5-minute conversation where they show us a number, we're like, ha, and leave.
Yes. Me too. Me too. And the board was like, kind of like, here's what our threshold tolerance would be, like as a ministry, like if it's up to this, like maybe we can make it work. And it was amazing. It's like the greatest favor, blessing ever. And we've been there ever since. And we even talking to Drew, like, hey Drew, like, here's what's on the table for us. And he's like, you have to do that. This makes sense. Like, you just got to do it. I was like, okay. Cause it's a venue. Venice is like a city owned venue by Parks and Rec. It's like kind of professional level tier.
Which it's also better because it's not connected to Live Nation. Hallelujah.
Yeah, shout out to Live Nation. Ticketmaster and Live Nation.
Oh boy.
It's just a great situation. And I'll tell you what, I mean, coming into this year, I didn't know how I was going to go. I was very concerned because our numbers are not really big enough to fill that venue.
Right.
And we are definitely not filling the venue, but we're getting to critical mass enough. With
It feels good.
It feels good. It doesn't feel empty. And I was really worried about feeling empty. So it's like a new home for us. And that's kind of the fourth and final chapter of this, is the one that we're in.
It's the one we're writing right now. And I think part of what helps so much is that Venice, we've just built a love for it in Creatives itself. And if people who have been around Creatives, Venice is a familiar name because, like you said, we've been doing it like 4 years. We've been at Venice at this point.
2021. Yeah. 2021.
We've just been there for so
3,
long.
4, 5, and then this is 6. This is our 6th year.
Jeez.
This will be our 6th summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just it's a familiar name, and it's also a familiar name in the city. And I think that side of the city is, I think it's easier to reach a broader span of artists. Like, there's a lot of artists in Fishtown, but it's a different vibe when you go to the Manayunk side, because you also get all those people who are out 76. It's easier for people out KOP, Phoenixville direction to come in. And it's still easy to come from Jersey into Manayunk versus Fishtown. Highway, Fishtown is harder to get to. And then, of course,
Fishtown doesn't have parking.
Yeah, I was about to say. And our number one thing that we hear every time is parking.
Yeah.
And Manayunk.
That was our big challenge at both the Story Factory and Bedrock.
Yeah.
Was parking.
Venice has an enormous lot that the only thing it's sharing it with is an apartment complex that is way down on the other side of the island, and our cars don't get even near each other.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably 1,000 spots or 500 spots or something.
More than we'll need.
Yep. Maybe not.
Right now. More than we'll need right
great.
now.
That'd be great if we needed more parking.
That would be sick if we filled that place out like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't need all that parking right now, but we'll get there. Maybe. In Jesus' name. Here's my big question. So we just did a lot of monologuing, like from the very beginning all the way till now. But I do think it's kind of fun because it's a part of understanding the history of this thing. Like, every decision we have made has been preceded by a need or a pivot or a challenge. But I'm curious from your end, being like kind of self-reflective and maybe even cynical here a little bit, what do you think we could have done differently along this journey? Trial and error type stuff. You know, I think this whole story is one of perseverance. And and just like staying the course. The math is not mathing. The ticket sales aren't great, but we see the fruit, we see the impact. So we're going to stay the course. But what do you see that's like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have done that, or stuff that you're like, we did try and it didn't work, but I'm glad we tried. Whatever your thoughts are there.
The only thing that I wish we hadn't tried, there's nothing that I wish we didn't do, because everything we did, I think we needed so that we wouldn't be like questions left unanswered. We know what the outcome would have been for us. But the main thing that I wish we hadn't done was just like the free events. The no ticketed events.
Oh, the free open mics.
That was not the move. We had how many signups, and like 50 people not even showed up?
Yeah, like 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that was the challenge for us, was we were in this spot where the Story Factory is so much bigger than High Point.
Yeah.
Right? High Point was like a 100 max. We were filling High Point consistently.
Or at least getting enough people to make it feel full.
Yeah, 70 people or whatever. We go to the Story Factory, seats about 300.
70 feels like no one showed up.
70 feels like it's empty.
And
we're like, let's make it free.
Yeah.
And see how many people we can get out of it's free. And then we started getting registrations in, and then the venue was like, excuse me, what are you doing? What are you doing? So they made us cap the registrations at a certain number, so we couldn't get more registrations. And the people who registered just did not
They lived
come.
like 2 hours away.
Yeah, some people did. But either way, people registered for like 10 tickets, and then they come by with themselves.
Yeah.
That was part of the problem. So anyway, we got hosed by the whole like free, then you got to cap it at a certain number, and then that many people don't show up. We're like, you know what? Because you guys don't actually come when it's free, we're going to make the tickets $5-10 or whatever. Yeah. So we just always have a ticket now. Holds people accountable to come in Philadelphia, because apparently they need that motivation.
Yeah, it's not even about the money. It's just about, if you're going to say you're showing up, please just actually show up for our numbers' sake.
For the sake of knowing how many people to prepare for, we need to know. But honestly, and the tickets, like the ticket revenue does cover some of our costs.
Yeah, it covers at least the band.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good thing to have some revenue from the events that you can count on passively with tickets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's true. I've wrestled with going and trying the free thing again, Jared. It's funny that you bring that up. So I'm like, man, can we do it now at Venice? Can we make it free at Venice? But yeah, that definitely didn't work. I think if I have anything, it's just like, you can't go back and change it. And I do understand why we did it, but the shift to Schuler's concert, I wonder if we should have given the open mics more time then to like be consistent for a couple of years coming out of the pandemic. Coming out of the pandemic, it was just like, we're free. So we just started doing all this crazy stuff.
We did everything.
Like that's whenever the gallery vision got started. Our open mics were popping. We started doing concerts. And I wonder if like we needed to build a platform of creatives more before we should have done those concerts, or if we should have just been a little bit more strategic about who we did the concerts with, or came up with like a marketing plan, rollout, like just something to make those a little bit better of situations for us and for the artists at that point in time. But our heart was like, how do we help artists grow? And our thinking with the challenge was, how do you help an artist grow whenever it's only 5 minutes a set? Yeah. You know, it's like at most as an incognito, they might do 2 or 3 songs. And I was like, well, if we give them a concert, they can do an hour.
Yeah.
So that was the heart behind it, because the platform has always been by creatives for creatives, right? So yeah, like that's why we did it. But I wonder if maybe we jumped in that direction too quickly, and that was a disservice.
I think the proper order that we should have done probably would have been the long feature set, move away from the incognito features, but we needed those at the time. Move away from the incognito feature to just a longer closing feature set, and then eventually it turned into concerts. Because the another issue that we ran into with doing these long concerts, we were limited on who we could ask, because a lot of the people that we can have as features, they don't have enough content to do an hour show.
That's facts. That's facts. Yeah, there's not a ton of people who do, right? That actually can pull off an hour show solo. Yeah, I mean, and maybe we could have done co-bills at High Point, and that just would have went from half full to full immediately.
Yeah.
That could have helped too. I mean, there's a lot of things I think we could have done differently. I think that's part of life, is just realizing, man, if we had tried this, that doesn't mean you have regrets.
Yeah.
Or that, like, you know, you try to go back in time and fix it. You can't go back in time and fix anything anyway, but you learn from it.
Yeah. I don't think there's a single thing that I'll say is a regret around creatives for me. I think everything is just a learning experience and an adaptation for us.
Yep. Yeah, and I think the other thing that's been so interesting to see is in 2018, 2019, 2020, we did 4 events in 2 years, right? And then coming off the pandemic, we do about 14, 16 events in a year, 12 events in a year, 9 events in a year, 10 events in a year. And now it's like 6.
Yeah.
And this and we're dovetailing down in large part because of the venue. Venice is just too big for us right now.
And it's busy. Venice also has quite a busy season where, like, there were some months where she's like, you've got this one day or it can't happen this month.
But they also were open to us doing 12 months in the
Fair.
Original conversation.
Okay.
I wasn't
part.
willing to take the financial risk to cover the rental agreement,
Yeah.
knowing what our cost is per event. I was like, I can't risk,
Creatives alone could bankrupt us.
Yeah, the whole ministry would just go under from 12 creatives. And so we just said, like, let's start with 6 in 2026 and see how it goes. And I don't think anything has happened in the first quarter that's like, oh, we should go to 12 next year. Not at all. I think, if anything, it's been pretty solidified.
Yeah.
This is our rhythm every other month.
I think letting it run its course is the best move at this point.
Yeah, we have to.
Because we're
you have
seeing
to start
success.
selling out.
We
the
see
shows.
success in the first 2.
Yeah.
And I think that if we're able to maintain that and see at least a little bit of growth, that's like just the good sign right now. That's the sign to just stay steady on track.
Yeah, I think so. And the reality is, outside of Creatives Philly, we do a lot.
Yes.
So we're doing somewhere around 175 to 180 gigs this year beyond Creatives Philly. Right, we have 2 lines of events every month, pretty much. We just came off of Oracles, which I'm sure we'll do an episode about in the future. Hopefully, I would assume we'll do an episode about that because that's one of our biggest events of the year. Yeah. We're working on the house show stuff. We got the donor dinner coming up. We got Renaissance in the future. We got so many things.
Poetry tour.
The poetry tour in September. So there's like a lot going on.
That is our events to own. That's not even the events that we're going out for other people.
Yeah, those would be the other 160, 175 gigs or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot going on that, like, creatives happening every month. I mean, there was a time where I thought we were going to do it every week. That's why I signed a weekly contract with High Point.
But that was also a very flexible contract.
Yeah, it was a great contract. But I'm just saying, there was a time where I thought that level of frequency. And I think over time, this is what you learn. You start to realize rhythm and capacity issues with our team. Like, I know you would want to do it every month. Mm-hmm. I know Ant would want to do it every month. I know there's other people who would want to do it every month. But for, like, a lot of the serving team, like the volunteers who run the door, that man the hospitality, that make sure the artists get what they need, they probably are really happy that it's once every other month.
Yeah.
Once every 8 weeks, I give 4 hours to this thing for it to go extremely well and invest relationally in the people that come and do follow-ups in that sense. But we don't have, like, the next event coming immediately after the one we just did. I think that's been a breath of fresh air. Because otherwise it's just super cyclical that, like, as soon as we're done, we have to start posting and promoting the next one. before it's too late, because it's already 29 days away, 28 days away, 27 days away, 26 days away. It's just chasing you.
I think it's even just enforcing healthy boundaries on ourselves. Because I know that we would all, like me and you, would want to do it every month. But then as soon as we agree to it and we do 3 months in a row, we're all going to be like, oh my God, we got to do this again in a couple of weeks. Like, we would all reach a point where every other month would feel healthier. Because even now, there are times where I'm like, oh, I wish we could be back in here soon. But then the next month rolls up, the off month, and I'm like, oh, thank God we don't have creatives this month.
I miss it in the months we don't have it. I do. I miss it. But I'm also like, this is healthier.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, enforcing a healthy boundary, even though you think you don't want it, as soon as you would get into it, you know you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right now, it's without a shadow of a doubt, it's what we have to do. Because if we did every month, I think our audience would actually be smaller. Because I think part of what people are incentivized to not miss every creatives right now.
Yeah.
Because if they miss it, they're not going to be there for 4 months.
Even within our community, because our community loves it, they want to be there.
Yep, absolutely. Here's a question for you.
Ooh.
Infinite money glitch. You know?
Bitcoin.
If we had infinite money, what would you do with it? What would you see us doing with it? Because I have some things here that I thought of. Like, if money wasn't the challenge, which it is, and it's okay that it is. It keeps us in line. It helps us be good stewards. But with infinite resources, what looks different about creatives?
That's a good question. I feel like there would be a lot of ways to do incentives for different artists coming out, different features. Like, I'm looking at the list as well of what you said, like even things like compensating the closing feature would be crazy. Like, being able to give them something worth their time, or something that like values them. Like, we're giving them a decent amount for how long they do now.
On a Tuesday night.
Yeah, on a Tuesday night.
It's not a bad deal.
It's not like crazy money, but for a Tuesday night when you would have been sitting home watching Hulu or whatever, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we try to take care of people.
Yeah, but like seeing investment in people like that, seeing investment in people like the band, the I think you said on here the serving team, because like they show up and they do legit work. Like, they're there for a while.
Yeah, I would love to compensate the
doing things
team.
like that. But there's even a show idea that I've thrown at you before that we've talked about. That, who knows, maybe it's in the future already. But I've had this idea of like an end of year creatives recap, where we pull in some of the acts that just really stuck out to us, to people in the audience, and do this end of year bash show where you give everyone, with 6 events, like pull one artist from each event, give them each like 10-15 minutes, let them do more than just their one song kind of thing.
Yeah. And
letting us reflect on like what the year was like, because then you also have 6 artists that can promote it as their show.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's something that I've had in my head for a year or two. I think we've talked about it before.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that could be cool. I mean, I think even just doing the concerts at a loss, knowing you're going to lose, but you have the resource to do them at a loss, is still a real value that we don't have right now. I think I felt it like during Leah's set at this show that we're talking about at the beginning of this episode. Like, she needed more time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, she's a great artist. I wish she had more time. She did a great job with the time she was allotted. But I'm like, man, I wish this room got to hear more of her. Now, at Venice Island, there's very few artists in Philadelphia right now that on a Tuesday night can fill that room. Mm-hmm. It's not a ton.
No.
So that's a challenge. But even if it was at your studio or whatever, you know, like just one-off solo kind of concert things again. But it's just hard to justify that whenever we're, you know, we have budgets and we have restraints. Yeah. It's like you do what you can. And, you know, but with infinite resource, I don't know, something like that could be really, really interesting. And then the other thing is I want to continue to eliminate hurdles for attendees. Like, I really want our event to be as accessible as possible. Granted, you've heard that we've spent $50,000 plus and we've only sold $20,000 in tickets. So it's probably a pretty cheap ticket, and it is. But I would love for it to even like cap at certain numbers and not go over that personally. Just because it is Tuesday night and there are a lot of people that are struggling. I want our event to be able to have people who are struggling. You know, we comp people all the time. Somebody comes up battling homelessness, whatever. We let them into the event.
Yeah, we let them just come in, chill, get out of any quote unquote elements that are around there. I mean, 100%. The outdoor shows, it doesn't really make a difference, but we let them in, them like walk over and enjoy the music.
Facts. Yeah, but, you know, we've always done that. We've comped teens, right? I mean, I don't think a teen is paid to come. I mean,
there's been youth pastors, I think, who have hit you up and you're like, just bring your youth group kid, whoever with you, just bring them in.
Yeah. So
just let them come in and get some life poured back into them about their artistry, about what they want to create. Let them see what happens when you put in the work and grow, like what you can grow into.
Yeah, 100%. I think what we're doing is really good. We do not know how to do promotional marketing. I honestly think we probably need to talk to somebody that really knows how to do it and just work out like a partnership with them.
Yeah.
We just have to double our audience. Like, I don't think more people is going to make it less good.
No,
I think more people is going to make the artists feel even better about their performances. It's going to give more people an access to all of these artists. Like, a larger audience is just a W for us, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gratitude for the journey. What are you most thankful for, Creatives journey? I mean, you've been here for 7 of the 8 years.
I was just talking with Simone the other day at family night about how long each of us had been in it. It feels like none of us have been in it that long. But then we're sitting there with my wife and we're like, oh yeah, I feel like at this point, if you just know who Rick Harmony is, you're like a ripe veteran. And she's like, who's Rick? And I'm like, exactly. but even just benchmarks like that, I think about how long it's been. And even in that time, I just look back at my own growth and my own connections that I've made. Really, I'm just thankful for Creatives itself. Like, there's nothing about Creatives I'm more thankful for than just the existence of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we're sitting in a studio and I have all this equipment and stuff, and it wouldn't be possible without a ton of connections and all of these. Like, I wouldn't have a reason to have this space without Creatives, I don't think. I wouldn't have the friends. I wouldn't have the opportunities. I might not even be in Philly without Creatives. There was a point where I was considering moving to Chicago with a job opportunity with some people that I knew. The fact that I'm here is, like, I feel like a lot of it is because of Creatives.
I mean, you already had your own company, like Top Mop Productions as a brand. You've become an LLC.
I had the brand. I wouldn't have called it the company at that point.
Yeah, but now it's an actual company.
Yeah.
Right? You built an entire company from the ecosystem. I mean, Creatives is one piece of that ecosystem,
but I think it was also a catalyst. Like, it was a big starting point.
For sure. It's a good networking space, man.
Yeah.
If you're here and you haven't come, you're going to meet somebody that could like change your life in that room, because there's a lot of artists and creative types, a lot of entrepreneurial types that come to Creatives for whatever reason. We've gotten people married through Creatives, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good space. My thing is just you guys, like the team, the community of it. I mean, I'm grateful for like the metrics and the statistics of how many people we've been able to serve in a microcosm kind of way. But with this story you just shared, I know Raph, like, he's gotten opportunities with video because of the pandemic, shooting with Creatives, with Ripe Creation at the time, Dan and Matt. Like, that's how he got started. He's been our videographer ever since.
Yeah.
He uses Creatives to help other people to learn how to shoot with him.
He vets some of the shooters for his own jobs. There's one girl who comes that is like his student. Another one is a guy that I know and have actually used for some things, who just graduated college and is just looking for experience and places to cut his teeth. Like, that's what Creatives was for me. Like,
Right.
when I started, I had been out of college like a year and a half, not even. And I was just looking for anything. I was just grasping for anything I could do
In audio.
in production, in the city. And Creatives is a great place for that. And I think Raph had the same experiences where that was where he did a lot of like cutting his teeth there. And we just want to we want other people to see that and benefit from it as well.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I love what we've done for Will. Does not need us. Will, the pudding guy, shout out to you. Like,
He does not need us.
he's doing fine. But like, I love that our space has been a place for Christian entrepreneurs to be able to sell their goods and services.
It's about to be for even more too.
Yeah.
Like, we've had like 4 or 5 different companies come through at different times.
Yep. We have a new one this summer that's going to be rocking out with us consistently moving forward as well. So I'm grateful for what we've done in that sense. I'm grateful for the people like Mallory and Liv and Mike and Kai, and even like going back into Simone, obviously, Tosin on that end, Em and Liv in the past, Claire in the past,
Joe
in
Rosie.
the past, Rosie in the past, people like Michaela even.
Yeah.
Michaela Centeno, shout out to you. I know that's not your last name anymore. She just wrote a book, became an author.
Yeah, like fantasy novel.
Yeah, really cool. But like, she started as a poet, coming to Creatives and then helping out with tech on the computers, sitting next to you.
Yeah.
She
She was running Pro Presenter at High Point.
100%. So it's like those types of things are there. Those stories of legacy of people coming in, serving on the team for a year or 2 or 3 years or whatever. Like, those people that's what I'm most grateful for. Like, forget how many, we've had this many attendees, or we have these many followers, we've had these many views. I can care less about that stuff, honestly. That stuff is just helpful for like, are we growing? Do we have a chance to fill this size of a room? Like, that's the only thing that's really relevant for. What's relevant to me is the relationships of the people that I can be consistent with, which is our team. And I'm really grateful for what you mentioned earlier, the artist highway into Ripe. Like, it legitimately has been.
Some of the most natural on-ramps for people have just been through Creatives and relationships through Creatives.
Yeah, I mean, there's at least 2, if not 4. Might be more than that. I'd say there's 4 artists right now that have been coming around, right? The community, coming to some of our family nights, that I think will probably get voted on very soon and at least get invitations. They might say no to those invitations, but are going to get invitations to be Ripe artists.
Yeah.
Right? At least 2, probably 4.
And I think we're like...
They are all from Creatives, though.
Yeah. And I think currently there are probably 6, maybe 7 people artist-wise in Ripe that Creatives may not be how they initially met, but it's how they grew their relationships. Because you got Leah, you got Craig, you got Tajir, you've got Greg, you've got Jake, you've got Leah. That's 6. That's where I met Sergey.
Sergey came back, yeah, to Creatives. Rashid, yeah. It's probably
like
it might be closer.
I think the
15.
majority of the people who are artists in Ripe made some major connection point or had some big switch hit around Creatives.
Yeah,
and Ripe.
No, I think that's facts. I think that's one of the things that people who from the outside looking in have said is like, oh, you guys like actually do stuff. Like, a lot of people talk about doing stuff and you guys just actually do it. Like, you don't say like, hey, what can we do to serve artists? You literally go do it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's pretty compelling to artists that are, the advice that I've given artists for a long, long time, because everybody feels like, you need to build a team. You need to build a team. And I'm like, that idea of building a team is what makes you think that you can just build a team around you, right? The bigger question is, what's a team I can be a part of? Like, whose team can I join? Because then, like, when you join a team and you're a part of somebody else's team and part of a bigger thing than just you, you're going to get benefits and blessings back from that group of people that you sowed into. Like, that's relationship, that's connection, that's how things, I think, are really going to work. Yeah, I don't know. That diva, like, I need to build a team around myself thing is like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like, good luck finding people that are going to be ride or die with you for the long haul if you're trying to build it around your own artistry and personality and gift set. You know?
That's something that people notice a lot with creatives. The people who come who know you as a poet are always annoyed / surprised that you never perform at creatives. And then there's people who don't know you as a poet that are mind blown when they hear you do poetry. And he will never do it at creatives. I think you've maybe done one piece in the entire time I've known you at creatives.
Have I actually performed at creatives? I don't know if I have.
I don't know if you have, actually. I feel like I
feel like we'd have evidence.
I think it's because I've seen you do pieces at High Point, but it wasn't for creative. So I'm mixing everything up in my mind.
Yeah. We definitely did videos at High Point.
Yeah.
We definitely did videos at High Point.
But still, it's never about you. And I think one other thing to say about gratitude around creatives is just you and Dar and the sacrifices you two have made around Ripe, around creatives, to see it grow, to see it expand. Because even though it was built out of a need for your guys' end, you recognized the need that it filled for artists around you. And I think using your gifts for something like this, because the reason you were able to pull off the event in Philly in the first place is because you had spent so much time in your previous job making all these connections with artists. You knew most of the artists who were coming out to creatives just from your work at putting on special events for the kids at your job, for all of the performances that you would put together. You had already fostered so many relationships because you were doing that for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
For 10 years, you built relationships and you didn't let it be wasted. You've turned it into something like this.
Yeah. Thank you for that, man. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I think the tumor situation, the biopsy and all that, and the stress around medical bills is what like led us to start something.
Yeah.
And then, immediately thereafter it's like, oh, we don't need the money now because the insurance kicked in. So let's just take the money from the event and invest it in artists because we don't need it. Now, I never expected that we would invest more than double what we brought in from the events. I didn't expect that.
If you had saw that beforehand, you would have never
I would have
done it.
never started this thing. But, it's not our resource. It's the generosity of others. It's money out of our pockets in some ways, for sure. But we believe in it. And we believe in the fruit of it. And we believe the impact in it. We believe that raising up a generation of artists and creatives is more valuable than money. Like we actually think that. And so it's worth the investment of sowing into people and sowing into a vision and seeing what God does with it. And it's crazy it is when we're 8 years in, I still don't think we've arrived at all. I think what creatives could become is still yet to be seen. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that look at it and they're like, oh man, that thing's great. It's established. It's doing great. We don't feel like we're established at all. Like we don't feel like hardly anybody knows about us yet. I have one last thing I just want to say. This has been a really long episode, so thank you guys. But I was reflecting on this as it pertains to this episode, just to kind of share. A lack of finances doesn't mean there isn't favor on a vision. Because I think a lot of times people get they get the flip side of that. And they're like, resources means God's favor. And that's not always true. And I think in the same way, the inverse, like a lack of resources doesn't mean that there's not favor. If you do the math on it, we talked about like somebody else trying to do our event. It probably cost them $7,000 or something like that. If it was a la carte, we do it for about $1,200. And the real cost is the venue cost.
Mhm.
And when you do the math at like the venue rates that we have used, like High Points was 160 an hour. From our end, we would get in there at 3 and we would leave around 11.
Yeah.
So that's 8 hours at 160 an hour, 4 times a week, 4 times a month for 12 months a year. You start doing math and you're like, oh, we saved $40,000
In 1 year.
in 1 year, right?
How many years have we been going? And that was probably the cheapest venue that we were in.
Right.
Besides maybe
There were
Bedrock.
other venues that were $6,500.
Yeah.
There were other venues that were $3,000, right? So like there are other venues that probably would have been 500 to 1,000, whatever. But that's the thing that's like, oh, we've saved over 8 years, like something like $250,000.
Yeah.
Right? Like 200K on creatives just in venue rentals of what they could have been. And that to me, I'm like, that's favor too, right? Just because we haven't seen an influx of resources that covers all of our bills and makes it a profitable move. No, it's not profitable at all because we do things the right way. But in doing things the right way, there's people that see that and they're like, hey, we want to sow into that. Like you said, sometimes it's partners and givers. Sometimes it's venue relationships. Sometimes it's artists. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had a couple artists come in and do creatives that we have no business being able to get on creatives, but are like, I believe in what you guys are doing because I see the way that you actually do the things that you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And having integrity, having your, what you say is what you do, I think is really important in today's day and age. Now, we don't advertise that all the time. The fact that we're saying this on the podcast, I guess, is a little bit of saying that, but it's not something we're necessarily like putting out there in public ways. Like we do right. We do the right thing. It's like, no, we just do the best we can and we trust that God's going to make it all work.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's a big part of this story is that, yeah, there hasn't been resource connected to this particular side of our vision, but God's hand has been all over it.
I think I've heard people say this where if it's really easy if you have all the funds, if you have all the finances to be able to be like, oh, look what I did. But if you're not necessarily going month to month, but if you're looking to God to make it work, it's a lot easier to give him the glory. Yeah. It's a lot easier to point people back to him. Now, listen, we're going to point fingers back to God no matter what. So please bring the finances in. Let us be successful. But
Thanks.
Still, I think it's just it helps the heart posture a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've never used
the
that in a sentence.
manna for the day. Yeah. It's 100% real. You have to trust in the Lord with all your heart, right? Lean not on your own understanding. It's not some model that we've created that we trust in. We trust in God to show up. We pray over the events. We ask the Holy Spirit to guide us, make it make sense, lead us to the right people, have the right conversations. And that's the biggest fruit of creatives isn't favor. It's been impact. It's been transformation. It's been people who've gone from spiritual death to spiritual life in part because of an experience they had at creatives, a connection, a conversation that happened that led them to go to church. They heard the gospel presented. They decided to give their lives to Jesus. That you can't beat that stuff. So excellent. We're grateful for it. We love it. If you love it too, please give to support Ripe Creative. Honestly, that's our big thing right now is I'm really at a place where it's like, it's not about the amount. It's just the amount of people that we need partnering with this thing. Like we've been small but mighty with a support network of like 30 to 50 families from all over the country, a few churches. That's how we've stayed alive for 7 years now as a nonprofit. Creatives even predates the nonprofit Ripe Creatives existing as a platform. But as Ripe Creatives, we've been around, about 7 years now. It's been a few dozen people. And then church bodies overall that are, expand that number. But we need 100 new families
Yeah.
given to support Ripe Creatives if we're going to take the steps that we need to take in the future and be able to do all the things we want to do. So if you're here listening to this podcast, please, please, please jump on our website, ripecreatives.com, click the give button, become a monthly partner at any level. It's really, really helpful. And if you're already here and you do that, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. The whole reason why we shoot these podcast episodes is not to get our name out there. It's not to like grow a brand. We really don't care. It's literally to say thank you to our partners so that you know where your resources are going and what we're doing with them and what the impact has been. Now, this was a little broader of an episode than we normally do. We usually focus on one date, but that's kind of why we're here. So
to give frame of reference, if you buy a ticket before the doors for Creatives, it's like $10 online. If you gave $10 a month, you've then added like another ticket essentially, like to help us covering our costs with Creatives.
Yeah, and honestly, if you become a monthly partner and you are local to Philly, one of the perks you get is you get into our events for free.
Every event for free.
Yeah, and that's including Oracle. Any ticket event we do, you get in for free. Yeah. And that's because like it doesn't make sense to give us money and then give money to an event. Yeah. Like you're already giving to support the event itself.
It's also just appreciation for your support, appreciation for your existence and belief in the ministry beyond monetarily, like believing in it spiritually.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to tell people like don't become a monthly partner just to get free tickets. Because that's like lame. That's like a pretty weird reason to do it. Become a monthly partner because you believe in it. We'll just give you the tickets as a thank you. Yeah. And we'll give you a t-shirt too. Like I mean, you know what I mean? We're not money hungry, greedy people over here. We want to be good stewards with what your resource is. But having consistent monthly people, like then we actually know what our revenue is. So then we can figure out what our expenses can be. That allows us to make decisions on things like the tour and the house shows and the frequency of creatives and do we ever bring the concerts back?
This is the only organization I know of that views a loss as a win for events. And I think that is what helps drive it forward. Yeah, because we have the monthly support to make up for it. Like they're giving for us to pull off these events to reach people. The monetary side isn't the win, it's the connections.
100%. Yeah, that is factually true. Yeah, every time we open the doors, we get to make an impact. Now, we would love to be able to afford to open those doors more often. Yeah. That's the challenge. But that's why we're saying, hey, partner with us if you don't. If you already do, thank you. We do have a donor dinner coming up in 2026, October 10th. If you hear this after that, that's weird because you're listening to this way on delay. But October 10th, 2026, if you're hearing this before then, grab a ticket to our donor dinner, come through, support us, and hear more of the story of what God's been doing. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Jarrett, thanks for being on this episode. It's probably one of the longest episodes we'll do in the entire season.
Probably. I feel like Oracle's going to beat it, but this is probably one of the longest.
Oracle's probably going to end up being 2 episodes or 3.
We'll talk about the first half, and then we'll talk about the second half.
Hopefully not. It'll be fun to get the poets in here to talk about oracles. But I thought this was important, even though we couldn't have the people we wanted to have on the episode to talk about the specific date. Why not take a bird's eye view of something that's been 8 years, you know? So
yeah, crazy.
It's going to be a good rest of the year with Creatives. Make sure you guys tap in with us, tap in with what we're doing overall. Much love, y'all. Until next time, stay right.
Ayo, freedom calling, pick it up. Why you stalling?
You can learn more about Ripe Creatives and support our ministry by visiting our website, ripecreatives.com. To never miss a future episode, you can join our community text line by texting Time is Ripe to 215-273-3540. Time is Ripe is produced, recorded, edited, and released by Top Mott Productions. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I know you've been searching, pick it up. I know you've been searching.